the lair will have its own bank. That it will, well, all of them are going to be interconnected kind of thing. They're all going to access the same pool. But each and every one is going to be like in its own separate area in its sense. So lair is going to have one that's going to be in the entrance area. Cove is going to have one, or the hideout is going to have one in its cove area, in the center of the cove area. And Sanctuary is going to have a statue that's maybe going to be in the center. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to put it in there just yet. And plus, not only that, I got to go move a few things to different areas as well. So, for instance, I got to copy one of my activators and move it over to Sanctuary. Is there anything else here? Ooh, there is an item over there. I do want that item. Cool. It's very helpful. But yeah, so there's a few things that I want to move to a different section. And then other areas in which that I want to, not to say move them, but just to have them in a better spot kind of thing. That fits their sort of area better. Because I'm trying to think of every other, like, area that would make sense. And there's only, like, one area in which that does make complete sense for me to actually go and do. But there is a problem with it. So each and every area is supposed to have its own sort of, like, theme. So, like, for instance, the main lodge area is supposed to be for home things. With an exception to the bank, because obviously how the bank works is that it's just a built-in ATM machine in your own home. Like, you know, like everybody else does. You know, I have an ATM in my house. Everybody does. No. But that's the only exception to it. Like, obviously you have things that interest your hobbies. So, for instance, I think the upstairs has something that allows you to create things like potions. Allows you to create things like spells and enchantments. Oh, I forgot a trainer. Interesting. And then what's the other thing, too? There's another thing that's on that desk, and I can't remember what it is. I think it's just an alien well. Just AXM'd. So it just helps out with the magic stuff, pretty much. We also have the statue of Elysian, which is just pretty much a glorified mirror, changing your face so you can apply makeup kind of situation. It's not a mirror though, because I don't know if there actually is a mirror in Oblivion that can kind of function. I don't think so. But it's there. Like, it's there for that kind of purpose, so yeah. And I'm trying to think of everything else, too. That is there. We have the bank. We have the bottle ship. Mind you, you wouldn't be able to go inside the bottle ship, but it is there, nonetheless. And what's the other thing, too? There has to be something else. I know it's just a bunch of items stored in chests, but those aren't activators that have a function. The Skull of Therion, however, that one is also going to be shared with Sanctuary, because Sanctuary had a theme at the beginning, and I kind of want to keep it, so that's the whole reason. Can't remember anything else, which is very sad about it. I don't remember anything else, which is very sad about it. Oh wait, where's the mark? There it is. Do you still sell Pokeballs by chance? Yes. We'll go with 50. So I'll just go get some super repels if you sell any. Nope. But yeah, like, I'm trying to think of anything else, though, too, in the house. I know the basement has a few functions. I know the basement, for the most part, has the Faction Master chests area, which I think will also be shared. Because I think it's an achievement thing that should be shared across every area. Or if I don't want to, or maybe I'll make the lodge have a shared version of it, or have like a duplicate of everything. But see, then that wouldn't make any sense though, because then that would be unfair. Because technically the Thieves Guild could go into the hideout. Like, I would have to create like 3 extra areas that will specifically fit the other ones too. And that's not fair, because that's a lot more work. And not only is that a lot more work though, but that's like, that's gonna make my mod feel very bloated to me. Like, already right now it feels way too bloated, but it's gonna bloat it even more. Okay, I think Centric can learn it. I'm hoping Centric can learn it. I think Centric can learn it. Yeah. But yeah, so like, the lair is going to be very interesting to do. Because the one thing I want to do is I'm going to do the same thing as I did with Sanctuary. Well, I say I did. Somebody else did it, and I just copied it. But same idea. But instead, for my version, I'm going to have to do it by hand. Which is going to be even worse. But hey, it's just me. I'm going to make the lair all one cell, which is going to make it much easier for me to work with. The reason why I want to make as many of my cells as, like, I want to reduce as much of cells as much as possible, is not because, like, oh, I hate old computers. That's not what it is. It's mainly just to limit the amount of times you go through loading screens. Because take it from me, a person who's had to use old laptops to play, like, different Oblivion mods, a lot of the times you will experience a crash. Not during the game. I've experienced that like maybe twice. Unless we're talking about Nehrum. Nehrum more than that. But for normal Oblivion, I never experienced that. And this was before I think I found out about the 4 GB patch. I think the only time you would ever crash inside of the game is if you alt-tabbed. Because once you alt-tab, and you don't have the 4 GB patch, apparently, the game crashes. So, I think what happens is that it releases all of the memory all at once, and then it tries to jump it back in there. But for some reason, Oblivion can't load it. But because it doesn't have that large capacity, but yet if you give it the 4 GB patch, it's able to smoothly put it in. I don't know. But yeah, so the layer is going to be all one cell, so that it limits the amount of loading screens as much as possible. As you can already tell for Sanctuary, it fits so well, but the problem is how the doors work though. So if you don't know this, allow me to explain. So doors will always display what the next area or the area that you're going to is on the line. So the name of the door will be Old Wooden Door. Then on the bottom will be like, let's say, I'll use the cell name or quotations, the cell name I would have put for one of the areas, which is the Forge. So it would have on the top line Old Wooden Door 2, and then on the second line it would be the Forge. However, because of the way that I have Sanctuary now, I have to put it all in the same line, so it doesn't flow as well. Unless there's a way you can make it so it goes towards the next line for it. If there is a way, I want it, because that would look a lot better. Because it just looks like a run-on sentence. Old Wooden Door to the Forge. Old Wooden Door to the office. Old Wooden Door to the training quarters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel as good as the original, the Sanctuary, where you have, like, that hidden text kind of thing. Or that second line that fits a lot better in towards the aesthetic of just, like, opening doors, pretty much. Like, I could technically get rid of the basement and make it all one cell, I think. Wait, could I? I think the only thing is that I would have to line up the ladder with the trapdoor that's on the main floor, but yeah, technically I can make it all one cell. How come I never thought of that? Sorry, I'm getting repels because I'm getting sick and tired of these wild Pokemon. And I'm hoping this guy actually sells repels. Oh, good, he does. Oops. 16, that's fine. But I'm trying to think of everything else too. Yeah, because I definitely know I can't do the cove. Because... well, I can't do the cove for 2 reasons. One is that both of the areas that are extras... so the captain's area is its own cell, and not only that, it doesn't really work as well as you might think for the area, because the inside of the cell is like, you get to see the landscape outside, but the problem is that unless there is a mod out there that allows you to have that same thing for the exterior, you can't really do it, unfortunately. Because the exterior makes it look like it's boarded up. Like the windows are boarded up, so you can't see out of them. So, can't really do that, I'm afraid. But for, what's it called? Oh, brain, come on, man. I hate that you're mush all the time. But for the lair, I definitely can do it. Like, that's not a question. The lair, I'll definitely, well, I might not do it in the same way at first as the Sanctuary. I'll slowly start preparing myself to go do that, because that's a lot more work, and I don't really want to do it. However, I do want to find out, like, right off the bat, if it will work the same way as Sanctuary does. Because literally, how I fixed the Sanctuary clipping issue that we had before, I literally grabbed what the original Sanctuary in Oblivion has, and I just copied its, like, X, Y, and Z coordinates of that cell, or that little block area, and then it worked. It completely worked. So it's like the person was able to grab the vanilla values and put it there. So I want to see if the Vile Lair will work the same. Because if it does, that's fine. The only thing that I do not know right off the bat as I am speaking right now is for the 2 areas that have water, I don't know if they will have water later. Because the Cloister area, not a Pokemon, just it has an I instead of a Y, and the Shrine area, they both have water. So it's like, will it work? Will it not work? I don't know. But if it does work, hey, I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It works. Who cares? But for everything else, it's like, who knows? So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to AXM everything first. So before I do the whole 1 cell thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to